Well, hi everyone. This is Paul. I'm a volunteer with Your Community Cares. That's spelled capital U, capital R, Community Cares. Your Community Cares is an organization that's a volunteer organization that helps members throughout the state of Connecticut. And we're in over 115 towns right now and looking to expand throughout the entire state. And I'm here today with Frank, a member of our organization. There's two areas here: volunteers, that's what I am, and member is what Frank is. And what we do is the members submit requests for services to be done, deeds for them, like being driven somewhere, or come on over and have some companionship with them, or do yard work or housework for them. And so the volunteer goes online and accepts or declines whether they can do it or not. And then so the deed gets done, and then online the member then, after it's done, reports that the deed was done successfully. So it's a very simple program that we have here. And Frank here is in Madison. We're at his home in Madison here. And Frank was actually the first member that I did any deeds for. We met on Thanksgiving Day and had a nice time on the Clinton docks there with his dog Pinocchio, who is resting comfortably on Frank's lap right there. And again, this is a very good organization, Your Community Cares, and everyone benefits from it. The volunteers do good work for the people in the community, and the members get the services that they need done. And you make a new friend, like Frank and I became friends, and we talk on the phone, and the whole thing. So it's all good. So anyway, Frank, thanks for letting us come to your house to do this. And maybe you can talk about how you got on board with Your Community Cares initially.
Okay. I think it must be almost a year ago now when I saw an ad in the local paper that Michelle had started. Michelle is the president of Your Community Cares, had a group starting in Clinton, our neighboring town, which is where I spend a great deal of my time at the docks and down at the marina. I have a group of elderly people who spend time at McDonald's for coffee, and I had mentioned it to them, and I gave Michelle a call when I saw the newspaper article about Your Community Cares, and she was gracious enough to want to come down and meet and talk to my friends and I at the dock and explain the program to us, which she did almost within a day or two, I believe. And a number of us signed up for it. I think I was the first one to sign up, and was able to get a volunteer who came over to help me do some fall cleanup in the yard, the leaf raking, that type of things. And shortly after that, I was first exposed to Your Community Cares. I had a devastating fire here in my home. Woke up one morning to the house being totally engrossed in flames. Fortunately, my service Yorkie Pinocchio was able to get out with me, and the troubles began. We were saved from the fire, but the home was pretty much destroyed. We're sitting now on the porch, which was one of the few areas that was able to be salvaged. But right now, the inside of the house has been gutted. We're getting ready to start restoring it. But we've had quite a bit of trouble with FEMA in the flood zone. So we're waiting for FEMA's approval before we restore the house. But Community Care was able to be there for me when the Red Cross and other organizations that you'd expect to be there weren't. Your Community Care was able to give me a volunteer to continue raking, to clean up the yard, to clean up the debris from the fire. I met Paul, who was able to spend time with me on Thanksgiving. Actually, we went to McDonald's and had had coffee, and were able to talk. He gave me that chance to have some companionship and some relief from the stress of going through the fire. After that, Community Care had a volunteer who came over and was able to help me do laundry at the rental cottage that my insurance company has rented for me to stay at while the home is being restored. She was able to help me with the mammoth amount of laundry and cleaning that I had to do from the fire. So Your Community Care has been there for me right from the beginning, and I thank them. I was able to go on and exist this long. I couldn't have done it without their help. and I'm still looking for help. I mean, I need help with cleaning, with housework. There's always a friendly face and people give you friendly advice, and can't seem to do enough to try to help you when you're going through probably one of the worst times in your life. No one would expect at 75 years old you have to go to a devastating fire in a home that you've lived in for 3 generations and watch all the antiques and memorabilia get burnt or thrown away. It certainly has been tragic, and thankfully your community cares has helped me get through it all.
There's 4 different areas that people, 4 different types of services that volunteers provide for the people. And so the people who are proficient, let's say, at housework or yard work, Frank would be in need of that right now, mostly housework, I guess, right, Frank?
Right.
Although the companionship part is, that's part of it. And that's one of the great things about it from the volunteers' point of view also, is that you meet a new friend. You provide whatever the service is that they need, and some people may need help with their computer or something, so you're visiting them, but you're also making a new friend. You're having good conversations like Frank and I always have.
Right.
Frank is a Vietnam War veteran, and you can see by his hat there, he was a medic back then, and thank you for your service, of course, Frank, for what you did.
Your Community Cares now has a group to help people with their pets. And since I have Pinocchio sitting on my lap, she's really my only family member that I have left. And as I said, she's a service dog, and she's been with me throughout this whole ordeal every minute. And one of my biggest worries is that if something happened to me or if I had to be hospitalized, what would become of her? But I understand that there's a new group at Your Community Cares that's starting up to help people in their time of need to foster care or to babysit or daycare your pets, which I think is a great idea, and I'm certainly willing to help out in that regard myself with it once I have a home again. But I look at that as a growing area, and I know there's a lot of people out there who could use that service, and I would again have him reach out to Your Community Cares, because I think that's an area that you intend to explore and grow in the future.
Yeah, that's important because if a person does go into the hospital, someone has to take care of the pets, and they're so precious to us. The pets are members of the family, and you got to have someone that you trust be able to take care of them if you happen to be put in the hospital or in a position where you can't take care of them. So that is an important element to what Your Community Cares does also.
I know I have a pet rescue foundation. It's the Frank Yorkshire Terrier Foundation of Connecticut, and I've operated that since I came back from Vietnam in 1971. And in fact, I'm a 501c3. I've done it mainly from my home here, but at one point we had 8 foster homes around the state, and we used to find one of the biggest reasons we had so many rescues was that because people were hospitalized and they had nowhere for their pets to go, and they ended up having to surrender their dogs or their cats because there was no one to take care of them. And some of them were able to return home and function again, but it was too late because their pets had been lost in the system or been adopted by someone. So that's certainly an area that I'm interested in, and I think can use a lot of help. Welcome, good afternoon. Welcome to the Yorkshire House. It's a little different than last time you were here. We've recovered most of it from the fire, and it's been gutted. We're ready to do some rebuilding, but at the moment it's pretty empty in here. Come on in. Okay, now that we've taken a quick walk around what's left of the house, why don't we take a walk down to the beach and look at the water in this beautiful sunny day?
Okay.
Okay, well here we are. We just had a tour of the house. I'm down at the end of my street with Paul and Michelle of Your Community Cares. I'm showing them our family bench. As I mentioned before, we've been here 3 generations. Several of my family members have lived out their entire lives here. They've died in home hospice here in the home. And this is our bench where we put a little plaque on for each person in the family that's here. We're looking out on this cold February day at the water at our port beach, which has been washed out. It's now all rocks from the sand. But I think back, I've had 75 years of swimming off this beach and in the water here. Nice salt water overlooking Long Island Sound. We can look out there at Faulkner's Island, which is the lighthouse. And if you can see all the way across on a nice clear day like today, you can see Long Island. Being in a fire here, I'm extremely lucky in that I was in a town like Madison. Madison has many community resources, starting with the fire department, whose response was almost immediately, along with the Madison Police Department, who were here to help me in my worst time of need. They did a great job in sizing up the situation and getting the resources they needed here almost immediately to help care for me and try to get me back on my feet as soon as possible. I also had public adjusters approach me at the fire who immediately took on the task of settling the loss with my insurance company. There was also a restoration company, United Restoration. Their representative was here, who immediately came to my aid, took care of boarding up and securing the house after the fire, got an inventory done, and have taken over the whole long, a horrible process of trying to restore the house and bring it back. We've made progress. We've got a long way to go, but I think all in all, I thank the town and the other organizations that have helped me. This Madison Senior Center has been helpful. Madison Food Bank stepped in when I didn't have anything left. I had no groceries. Many community organizations stepped up to the plate in order to help me get back and make the transition from having a home to being homeless as smooth as possible.
Yeah, but after 3 months.
Stick your nose in the camera. Pinocchio, where did you see that? What's that? Look at the bunnies out there. You see any bunny rabbits? Where are all the bunny rabbits? Where is the... She's going to stick her nose right in the camera. What a good girl. Pinocchio's a good girl. Aren't you cold? You don't have your sweater on either. Okay, we're going to get that. We're going to go back and get supper and see if the chicken's ready. Go back and get your supper now, Pinocchio.